Hello, and welcome to the Knitting with Cat Hair podcast. My name is Nikki. I am also known as Knitting with Cat Hair on Instagram and Cat Hair Knitting on Ravelry. I am coming to you from Sudbury, Ontario, Canada, which lies atop the traditional lands of the Tigamish and Anishinaabe people, where I live with my partner, our 2 daughters, and our 5 cats. Hence the name of the podcast, as I'm always finding cat hair in my knitting. So a big warm welcome to all new viewers and a big welcome back to all returning viewers. I hope that you have been enjoying your last, I think it's been 4 weeks or so since my last podcast, and that you've been getting lots of making done. I've been busy, but I've been delving into lots of different crafts, so I have quite a bit to share with you today. I have some crochet, some knitting, some natural dyeing, and some sewing to talk about, and so let's just jump right into things. So I'll first start off with one admin thing. I am running a Marie Wallin make-along over on Instagram. You can follow along with the hashtag another year of MWMAL. And if you are participating and have finished a Marie Wallin pattern, please use the hashtag another year of MWMALFO. And that is where I'll be drawing prizes from. So yeah, we've already had so many beautiful makes, and it is ending August 1st, so there's just under a month left to get your Marie Wallin projects finished. And then, like I said, I'll be drawing names from that FO hashtag and giving away 2 prizes. So yeah, okay, with that, let's move into the crafting talk. So today I'll start with what I'm wearing. I'm not wearing any finished knits today, but I am, however, wearing my first ever sewn garment. So I am going to pop in some video of me wearing my Hinterland dress. Which I finished just recently. I spent a weekend with my mom down at Birch Lake last weekend, and she kindly and patiently helped walk me through the pattern. And this being my very first sewing pattern, I definitely struggled. Yeah, it wasn't intuitive to me at all. I guess maybe I'm comparing it to knitting a little too much, but it just wasn't intuitive, so I did struggle, and thank goodness I had her there to assist me. And yeah, I did sew pretty much every stitch with the exception of the bust darts, which yeah, I wanted to look kind of perfect. It's very important that you get them right, so I asked my mom to do those for me. But other than that, I sewed everything else, including the gathering stitches, which were not my favorite part. Yeah, that was probably my most frustrated moment, sewing those gathered stitches, and that was right near the end too. So yes, thank you so much to everyone who left a comment on my last video, and when I mentioned that I was planning on making the Hinterland dress and sewing for the first time, and offered me words of encouragement, and just, you know, told me to take breaks so I didn't get too frustrated and take it slow and all of those things. And I did all of that. So I took numerous breaks, and they were lengthy breaks in between, and I found that really helped. And I actually really enjoyed, there were quite a few moments I actually enjoyed the sewing process. Yeah, I definitely will be doing more of it. And so I finished the dress with my mom, but I didn't finish the hem. So I finished everything else and the zigzagging. So I had to do that on my own at home, and my hem isn't perfect. It's, I think it's a little bit, what did I say, shorter in the back. I didn't get it straight all the way around. I'm still learning. So anyways, it's a little bit shorter in the back, but luckily I have a large bust size that kind of hikes up the front, so it looks like it's the right size in front and back. They match. Anyways, yes, so I am very proud of myself, and I think my grandma, who was also a seamstress and a sewist, would be very proud of the fact that the tradition is finally, after all these years, carrying on. So that is my first finished object. I do have one other, a knitting. I have a few others. Some are not with me, but to show you, I have one other. Let's give me a sec. So speaking of firsts, as returning viewers may know, I started drop spinning with a spindle in February of this year, and I was spinning up some Ashford Corriedale to knit my very first pair of handspun socks. And so I finally finished those, and here they are. I'm so happy with them. So happy. They're so cozy. I've never worn Corriedale before or knit with Corriedale before, and yes, it's more of a, like, I guess a rustic-y yarn, but it's definitely not, like, I would wear this next to skin, but again, I have a really high tolerance to the itch factor. So here you go, up close. I used 2 different colors of Corriedale. These are both Ashford. So the gray I actually spun was my very first spin. So it's I just used it kind of as contrast, so you can see it's pretty wonky. It's very thick and thin, and not nearly as consistent as the rust color, which was my second spin. But I think they turned out really well, and like I said, they're very cozy. Now I don't know if you can see. No. Oh, I can see some here. I don't know. Yeah, you can see how the stitches are a little bit thin in places. They're not perfect. They're not perfect. They are what they are. I will be a little bit precious about wearing these because they are my first hand spun, and they are my first hand spun socks, and I don't want to get holes in them, and I've used up pretty much all, yeah, I think I used up all of my fiber. Yeah, I just had enough to make these shorty pair of socks after experimenting, and you know, the waste that comes along with trial and error and such. So yeah, I can't really fix them without using some kind of a contrasting yarn. So I don't want to make holes in them, so I might be a little more precious with these, and there's no nylon in them or anything, so they probably won't last as long as a typical sock yarn would. But yeah, so I'm very proud. So these were knit top down. This is my standard vanilla sock recipe. Top down, they weren't standard because I had to go up a needle size because the yarn was actually thicker than a fingering weight. I would put it at more of a sport weight. I didn't measure it. I know I'm bad, but I didn't. So I'm guessing it was more of a sport weight. So I used a US 1.5, which I think is a 2.5 millimeter needles to knit this. And I think I cast on, did I put the notes? Oh yes, I cast on 56 stitches instead of my usual 64, just because the yarn was thicker. So yeah, very happy. Yeah, very proud. I'm really enjoying all of these kind of firsts and trying new crafts and new things. Yes, it's been very exciting. Okay, so next up, what do we have? Oh, I have 2 more finished objects. I do not have them with me right now. One is in the house being used. So I'll pop in a picture of what that is. Last episode I showed that I had started a crocheted cushion cover using a tulip square that I found. It's a free pattern on Ravelry. I should say all links, everything that I talk about will be linked down below in the description box, along with makers and any podcasts I mentioned and things like that. So I had finished the first half of the cushion cover, and then I went ahead and finished the second half, and I seamed them together, and then truthfully I have to sew the buttons on them still. So I think I'm just gonna sew, I have to get them some big buttons just to like close it up at the bottom. But yeah, it turned out cute. So I left it on the cushion to see what would happen. I explained this last episode, but I'm trying to protect our furniture from our cat's claws, and it seemed like for whatever reason that hexagon blanket that I crocheted out of numerous just like natural 100% wools. The cats were not wrecking it for whatever reason. So I got this idea that I would just crochet everything a cover. But I don't know if it's because of the type of yarn that I used this time around. It was Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool. It's kind of a little bit splitty, like yeah, I would say it's splitty. The individual plies are not, they're not tightly plied, I guess, or wound together. So I'm noticing that there's quite a few pulls already on it. So I've given up that idea. I won't be crocheting any more covers because it just isn't working. At least not out of that yarn. I might have to revisit different yarn. So yes, what can I say about that one? I mentioned that Lion Brand's Fisherman Wool in the colorway Oatmeal, I believe it's called. It's a really sheepy wool. My gosh, it smells like sheep. It really does. My cats love it. And yeah, it was a free tutorial, free pattern on Ravelry. Okay, moving on. I had finished one more crocheted project. A little while ago, my mom sent me, it was on Instagram, yes. It was a link to a free pattern for an Emmagurumi little fish. So my mom likes fish. She's got quite the fish collection. So she had sent me this, and I joked and I said, oh, I guess you're gonna have to learn how to crochet now. No, that was not the intention. She wanted me to do it for her. But I didn't have, it called for, I think, like a 1mm hook. And I didn't have anything close to that size. All of my hooks were much bigger. So I kind of just, put it aside or whatever. And then when my mom came to visit me a few weeks ago, she had found this little mini little crochet hook in with something else that she had gotten. I forget what it was. But anyways, she found it and she brought it, and it was a 1.5 or 1.25 millimeter. Anyways, it was close enough to the 1mm hook that I could use it. So I quickly set to crocheting her this little fish, and as kind of like a thank you for helping me with my sewing. So I gave it to her last weekend, and I just had to finish the eyes. Yeah, I had to finish the eyes while I was with her, but because I didn't have any beads. And in retrospect, I think I should have used a larger bead for the eye. It's a little small, but it's still cute nonetheless. But anyways, yeah, so I finished the pattern. It was super quick, and again, I'm not super experienced with crochet, and I found it quite easy. It wasn't, I'm trying to think if there were any struggles. Those puff stitches were a little painful. I don't know if it was because of the hook size, because it's so small and I'm just not used to it, or because the yarn I was using was splitting on me, but those little puff stitches were a little bit tedious, let's say. But it's all finished now and at its new home. And yeah, I can't remember the individual who made the pattern. I didn't write it down, but I will, like I said, I'll put links down below. I also, I was struggling with the tail instructions. So I went online and I went on YouTube and I looked for Emmagurumi Fish, and there was one that was very similar to this pattern. And so I just watched the tutorial on how to make the tail part and make it come out. It looks really cool because it looks like it has like, depth, like fin scales almost like to it or whatever. Anyways, so I'll link both of those down below. Okay, and I think that's it for finished objects. I didn't make notes. I'm looking at notes from last time to give me ideas on things I might forget or whatever, but I didn't make notes for this time, so I'm sorry. I'm a little scattered. It's been a crazy last month. Anyways, okay. So that is it for finished objects. We're going to move into works in progress. Let's see, what do we have? A bunch. I'll start with my Bolin because it's in front of me. So I am making the Bolin, which is a pattern by Leila Raven. It is a very interesting construction. So you knit it, you knit it in panels. So there's, you start with the back left, I think, back left, and then you kind of pick up along the edge and start the back right. And then you do the same for the front, I believe. And then you seam them together, I think. Actually, you know what? I don't know for sure. Because again, I haven't read ahead. But that's my understanding. So I've almost finished my first piece, the back left. Just trying to see if I'm showing the right side. Yep. And this is what it looks like. Okay, and this is always so hard to show because of the lace. Hopefully you can see it. Yeah. So I ran out of yarn, and the reason I didn't do more on this is because I had to go find the other skeins. So I just kind of put it aside and worked on something else. But I did notice I made a mistake somewhere. Oh, I don't know if I can see it here. In the lace. Where is it? Here. Right where my finger is. Anyways, it's on the back, and I've decided not bothering to go back. I can live with it. There's some things I can live with, and to have to go back and redo all of that, I just can't be bothered. So anyways, you actually knit it this way, but when you construct it, it's going to be worn this way. So it's quite interesting. And I'm knitting this up out of the called for yarn, which is Quince & Co. Sparrow, which is 100% linen. It is a fingering weight, I believe. Yeah, I think so. And I'm using US 4 3.5 millimeter needles to knit this. And yeah, it's enjoyable. I don't gravitate to it as much as I probably should. I don't know why. I think because it's so repetitive. I find it maybe a little boring. I have to be in the right mood to work on it. I don't know. I think it's just my brain lately. But anyways, that's where I've gotten to. And at the rate I'm going, this will not be ready for this summer, and I will be wearing it perhaps next summer. So yeah, I'm making the size 54 inches, but my row gauge is off, and the row gauge is what determines your actual width of the garment in this case. So I'm gonna have to add a little bit more. I think I'm gonna do like 1 or 2 more repeats of the lace panel to elongate it or widen it. That's the word. And that's housed in this adorable little fox bag by My Needle Crafts, which is a Canadian bag maker on Etsy. And I've been told that she has a podcast as well, although I have not checked it out. Speaking of podcasts, I am so far behind on everyone's podcasts. I've been terrible at keeping up. I just haven't been watching any. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks. But I'll talk about that later. Okay, so that's the first whip. What's next? I'll go with this one. So housed in this beautiful bag that my mom brought me back from Ecuador is a dress that I'm working on. I don't know if I moved the progress keeper. The dress is called the Bressay dress. It's a pattern by Gudrun Johnston, and it's found in this Farrell style book, which is out of print, but you may be able to get a copy of it, used copy of it on Amazon. That's where I got mine. Heads up, not size inclusive. None of the patterns are really size inclusive, but there are accessories and things like that in here. So those, you know, those would be fine. But yeah, the actual garments aren't size inclusive. I think they go up to like extra large, 49-inch finished size or something. Yeah, anyway, not great. So I will show you a picture of the finished dress. This is what it looks like. It's got this beautiful ferrule at the top, and then along the pockets and along the bottom. It is a lot of knitting. So I don't know if I put a progress keeper in, did I? Oh my gosh, I did, but I did, wow, I did like not much. I thought I had done more. Okay, so this is what I have. I finished all the fun bits and now it's literally just like miles of stockinette. So I'm getting there. I have decided, I mentioned this I think on my last episode, maybe not. I'm going to turn this into a tunic. I'm no longer making it a dress because I just think I'll get more wear out of it. Plus it will be quicker and it's taking me so long. I have had this on the needles for definitely over a year. This is my longest whip. That's not a blanket. But yeah. So I'm using 4 different colors of Brooklyn Tweed Loft, which is the called for yarn. So this colorway is called Storm Cloud. The light one is called Iceberg, I think. The dark turquoise is called Tartan, and this yellow is called Hayloft. And I do like how the colors look together. I think it's pretty. So it's fingering weight yarn and I'm knitting it on US 2.75 millimeter needles, I think. And that is why it's also taking so long. Plus I pretty much save this for knit nights and conference calls and stuff like that where I have to pay attention to other things as well, because it's just stockinette and there's some like increases now. Just making like, it's just increasing into like an A-line shape. So anyways, that is the Bressay dress. And then I have my Marie Wallin project, which I've just picked up again recently and did some work on. So for those of you who are new, I've already completed for our make along. I did complete the daffodil, which is, I did a modified version of the daffodil, which is patterned by Marie Wallin. It's a lace and cable. It's supposed to be a long sleeve sweater. I turned it into a short sleeved top, more cropped. And so I finished my project for the make along. So if this one doesn't get done in the next month, it's okay. So I am working on the Samphrey. And just as a refresher, I have done a bunch of the body. So I did a bunch of modifications to this one. I converted it to knitting in the round for the part of the body. So it starts off, it's knit bottom up. You're supposed to knit it in pieces with a front and a back. I chose not to do that. This one has a lot of float catching in it, like a lot. So that and the whole seaming thing, seaming color work, not a fan of. But anyway, so I converted to knitting in the round. So you start with this, not corrugated, you start with ribbing. It's just ribbing in different colors. And then there's some blousing that happens because of this long panel of ribbing. People were noticing that they were getting bulging right after it. So to combat that, I went down a few needle sizes. I forget how many. Anyways, all the details can be found on my Ravelry page, and I've talked about this extensively throughout the episodes, so I'm not going to go into too much detail. But anyways, basically I went down needle sizes and then started increasing in needle sizes to get back up. So it's kind of making more of an hourglass. Hopefully. And now I have put this on hold because I need to figure out where I have to put my sleeves in. It's a drop shoulder construction. So then I switched to the sleeves and I'm doing them 2 at a time, flat. I regret my choice now. I very much regret doing these flat. In the future, I think I would, I've seen other people do this where you knit the sleeves together. So this is what I have for the sleeves, just so you know. You would put steeking stitches in on each side of the sleeves. So you'd still knit it like this, but you'd make it in the round basically. So you put steeking stitches on this side and steeking stitches on the other side, and then you knit, 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 and then at the end you cut them. You just cut the steeks, and then you seam your, because I'm gonna have to seam this anyways. So I'm not saving any seaming. It's just really slow going for me right now. Like I said, with all the float catching and the color changing, there's 14 different colors in this pattern. Here, let me show you close up what it looks like, or at least what part of it looks like. Isn't it so pretty? I love it. I really love it, and I really want to be able to wear it this winter. I'll show you on the sweater part or the body part so you can see the full, all of the colors. So it's the same pattern down here as it is up here, but the colors are just changed. But it looks so different, doesn't it? And the pattern is shifted, so they're not on top of each other, but yeah. I really love it. I really, really love it. And these are all Jamieson's Shetland Spindrift, which is my first time working with them, and they're so lovely. Okay, I'm missing one color here. So I'll show you most of the colors. There's one dark turquoise that's missing. There we go. Okay. So these are most of the colors. Like I said, there's one more. There should be a dark turquoise here missing. Yeah, they're really pretty, really autumnal. Yeah, very fun to knit. I think, what did I do for this one? Did I go down a size? I might have gone down a size because I think my gauge was off. I can't get Marie Wallin's gauge. She's a very tight knitter and I just can't get it. So oftentimes I'm looser and I have to go down sizes. What else can I say? It's not a size inclusive pattern. Another one. It is found in this book called Shetland, and you can also, I think you can buy the pattern just individually as well. I got my kit from, I think it was Camilla Valley Farms out west of me. I think they might be in Alberta. I want to say Alberta. They sell the full line of Jamieson's of Shetland if you're looking for it. And they also have several kits, Marie Wallin patterns. They also do stuff like the Shetland kits and stuff like that too. They're a really cool shop, but I will say that their website is absolutely antiquated. It's terrible to work on. You have to actually fill in an order form with like numbers for each item that you want to purchase and stuff. It's just, and navigating through it, it's not intuitive. It's, the customer service is really good though, but their website sucks. Hopefully they're gonna work on upgrading it because it's just terrible. But yeah, I'll put a link down below to their website. So I think that's it for the knitting. Oh no, I have one more, sorry. One more. Okay. I think I mentioned this on my last episode that I had made a mistake on the Cotswold Henley that I was knitting for my partner. I'll pop a picture in of what the finished sweater looks like. So I had been cruising along, finished, separated for front and back, and I had gotten right up to the back, like I was doing the back, and I had gotten up to the neck shaping and then realized that my stitches were off center, and I was like, why is my collar off center? What is going on? And realized I missed a bunch of decreases, like a significant amount of decreases. I don't know what I did. I don't know how I did it, but anyways. So needless to say, I shoved it in the, no, I ripped back. I always rip back first, then put it in the knotty corner and let it sit for a bit until I'm ready to work on it again. Because if I don't rip it out, and I just put it in the knotty corner because I'm really pissed off at it, when I go to pick it up again, I have to figure out what my mistake was and try and fix it first. And then it just deters me from picking it back up. So I find if I just, I already know what my mistake was at that point, just rip it back, and put it away, let it sit until I'm ready. So I was ready. I picked it back up. And so now I have, just give me a sec here. There's lots of strings hanging off because I have to do some 3 needle bind offs later on for the shoulders. Okay, so here we go. I have finished the back, and these are the shoulders. They're on holders for the 3 needle bind off that's going to come up. And then on the front, I have finished half of it. So this one's on a holder too. And I'm just finishing the left side to match the right. But yeah, so I'm almost done the body, which is great. Oh my gosh, there's so much cat hair on this. I think my cat was laying on it. Cats and wool. I'm just trying to show you what it looks like the patterning. Here, I'll just do this. Goodness. You see that there's 2 different stitches. So this is like a Cotswold, what'd they call it? A Henley rib. And then in the center is it's like a garter basket weave, I think it's called. It's kind of neat. So yeah, I'm enjoying it again now that I've fixed my mistake, and I'm hoping that this is okay. I think it's just because it's rolling. My gosh, one side looks wider than the other. I will lose it if I made a mistake again. Does it look wider? It does. I'll have to count my stitches. I was pretty sure I counted this time because I am very bad at not counting along the way, especially when, the pattern designers are kind enough to give us the number of stitches we should have at certain points on our needles. And I very rarely check those numbers. So that's what happened. If I would have checked originally, this problem would have been found a lot sooner. And yeah, I wouldn't have had the heartache that I had. And so then all the way along, I've been checking the numbers. So it should be fine. I think it's just curling under, so it looks thinner. Okay, so that's the Cotswold Henley. I am knitting this up out of, where's my yarn? Cascade 220 Heathers in the colorway Olive. I believe this is Olive. It never shows up as pretty on camera as it is in person. It's heathered, and it's got like this beautiful light green, light greens and dark greens throughout it. It's just really pretty color, and my partner's favorite color is green, so he should like it. Plus I want to get this done so I can work on I got a Let Lopey kit that I want to make a cardigan for both of us, basically. I'm really excited to make that because it involves steeking, and I have yet to steek a garment, so I'm looking forward to that process. So I have to get this done first. So that's that. And then my last whip is a crochet project. So I showed this a couple episodes ago. I had purchased a kit to make Genie Crows Persian tiles blanket. And so I have now finished all of the pieces, and now I'm just seaming them all together. So this is what I have. Oh, you can see that. It's getting pretty large. Yeah, I think it's really pretty. It's an acrylic kit. I mentioned this. So I don't love the feel of it, but I'm still going to use it or gift it. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to do with it. So I opted to alter the colors. So I've put in brown wherever it called for blue. I put in a brown. So mine's actually different than the sandalwood. It's supposed to be, I think it's called the sandalwood colorway. there's different versions of it. And really I just wanted to get the pattern so that I could actually make my own version. But yeah, so that's what I have. And like I said, all the pieces are done. I just have to seam them all together. And I don't mind crochet seaming, but I feel like I'm gonna run out of the purple that I have to use to seam it, and putting it off. Do you guys do that? Like when you think you're gonna run out, or you're playing yarn chicken or whatever, and you just like, you don't want to know. So you just put it aside for a bit. That's what I've done. So anyways, we'll see. It's not the end of the world. I just don't want to have to buy more acrylic yarn, truthfully. But I guess I have to if I have to. Because unfortunately it shows up. Otherwise I just would have used the blue that they gave me. I would have just used that because there's 2 skeins of it. But it shows up, so I didn't want that. So I just have to get one more thing. Two more things. Okay. So I showed on my last episode that I had started solar natural dyeing again this year. And this time I was using avocados. I was determined to get a pink. I followed everyone's instructions. Didn't get pink. And so what I've determined is that I think that the reason I'm not getting pink is because the type of avocado I'm using. So I don't know the name of them. I know they come from Mexico. I know there's other ones that are grown elsewhere that are different. I've had the Brazilian ones, and I think it was Brazil, and they are different texture. And I've never really looked to see what color the pits were, but I know the pits of the ones that I've been using are orange in the middle. And I've seen on videos, when I did some research, I'm like, how come I'm not getting pink? I saw that people were cutting into their avocado pits and they were like pink, 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 pink. So I'm not using the right kind. That's clearly what's happened here. So I got this color again. It's a pretty color. It's like a light yellowy beige. And I even, in desperation, added a bunch of black tea bags to try and change it to a darker brown. And that didn't work for some reason. I'm not sure why. I'm also seeing, oh, okay, that's where it's tied. Whew, I panicked there. I thought something had cut through my yarn. But yeah, so this is the avocados. I might over dye this because this is just like the one I got last year. Pretty much similar color. So I might over dye it with something else. I'm waiting to see. I've been doing a bit of research. So I was collecting for a while. I was collecting rose petals that were falling off our rose bushes. Okay, I hate to pick flowers that are blooming to use for dyeing because I feel like, I don't know, I just want to leave them for the bees and the other pollinators. Like I just feel guilty about it. So I don't. So I was waiting patiently for my flowers to bloom, my roses to bloom, and then I was carefully picking up all the petals, and then I saw that the color it doesn't last. It's not one of those color fast colors. That's the other thing. You can dye with a whole bunch of different things, but it doesn't necessarily mean that the color is going to stay or last at all. So I try to choose what I use very carefully. So the other one that I tried, which was new to me this time around, was pomegranate skins. And that one yielded this really beautiful yellow. Oh. Isn't it pretty? I love it. It's gorgeous. And it started taking color right away. And now I haven't mordanted my yarn. I was talking to somebody on Instagram, Kate, who I mentioned in my last episode actually, of Mandrake Fibers, and she was telling me that the mordanting really isn't that big of a process, and that I should give that a go. So you know what, I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try it and see if I can get some different colors. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the pomegranate. To color very nicely. Very beautiful yellow. And what was I going to say about that? Oh, pomegranates similar to avocado skins and pits, onion skins, all of those things are high in tannins, so they don't need mordant. They just take color. No problem. Sorry if you can hear that. That's my neighbor's central air kicking on. Hopefully you guys can't hear that too much. It's very hot today. So yeah, those are my two naturally dyed, solar naturally dyed yarns for so far for this year. I might, like I said, over dye this one because I would really like another color. Okay, that's the results of my solar natural dye experiments. And then finally, I just got the courage to pick up and start spinning from my breed of the month, I guess, study Fibre. So I subscribe to Longway Homestead's breed of the month Fibre study. They're all Canadian breeds. They come from various farms across Canada, and they are I believe they're all single breed so far. Yeah, I think they are all single breed, hence the breed study. Yes, it would make sense. Duh. But anyway, so I finally decided to pick up and start spinning. I was like holding off because I wanted to make sure I wasn't gonna, you know, mess it up basically, because it's very precious to me, these exciting little packages that I get every month. And so I decided to start with the Rideau Arcot because I love the colors. So it says here, I should have read this last time too. This is what it looks like, the Rideau Arcot. So it says the Rideau Arcot is a truly Canadian breed. The government of Canada developed 3 breeds of sheep in the 70s and 80s. Canadian Arcot, Rideau Arcot, and Ote Arcot. Not sure how to pronounce that. Arcot stands for Agricultural Research Centre of Ottawa. The Rideau was developed using Finn sheep, Suffolk, Shropshire, Dorset, and East Frisian sheep, and was designed mostly for meat, but their wool has found its own niche. In Manitoba, there are many farms still raising Canadian and Rideau Arcot sheep. So Rideau wool is considered a variable wool. Some can be fine, long, and lustrous, while others can be more lofty and down. Rideau can be white, gray, brown, and even black. The wearability of Rideau wool often depends on the specific animal or flock it comes from. Some can be worn next to the skin as shawls or hats, and some is better suited for outerwear like sweaters or mittens. The wool can have a brilliant luster and takes dye well. It is a great wool for felting. So where did it? I thought it said where this came from. It didn't say. So I'm not sure exactly where the farm is that this one came from. I'm guessing Manitoba. But anyway, so I finally started. Okay, firstly, look at this fiber. I know I showed this before, but like, come on. It is like marble. Isn't it stunning? It's just beautiful. Just beautiful. So I literally just started spinning it. My first ply. And this is what I have. I hope you can see all the color in there. But yeah, it's been a pleasure to spin. It's been, and I'm a total newbie, right? I've only ever spun with the Corriedale beginner fiber, and I've had no trouble with this at all, other than like I get little tiny neps. Like I find it a little neppy. I don't know what that means, but oh, it's so soft. I don't know. I think this is going to be nice. It's going to be beautiful. And I don't know what I'm going to do with these yarns when I make them. I haven't decided yet. I was debating making a blanket, but we'll see. Right now, I'll just enjoy the process of spinning. Yeah, it's really lovely. Okay, so with that, in my Share the Love segment last episode, I mentioned that I was going to do a giveaway because I had an extra Rideau Arcot. And so thank you to all who left a comment explaining something about their spinning, how you started, what you're working on, what you hope to do. And yeah, thank you so much. And I chose a winner with a random comment picker through YouTube commentpicker.com or whatever it's called. And I will pop it in now. So congratulations. If you can get in touch with me via my email, I'll put it down here, or over on Instagram. If you're following me on Instagram, if you want to send me a message with your mailing address, I will gladly get that sent out to you. And I hope that you're able to finally use that lovely spinning wheel that was gifted to you. And I think the Arcot's a beautiful way to start because it's yeah, really enjoying it. All right. So I think that's it for all of the crafting talk today. So if you're not interested in life stuff and you're going to be leaving, thank you so much for tuning in. And if you did like this video, please do give it a like and make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss any of my future videos. And if you're choosing to stick around for life stuff, I'll keep it pretty brief. We've not been doing too much. We've been getting out for lots of bike rides when the weather permits. It's been quite hot, so yeah, it's not fun biking in really hot weather. But yes, we have been biking. And what else? We went this past weekend. We went to, we have a park in the middle of our city, basically, right on a gorgeous lake. And we went there and went swimming, and that was lovely. Sat in the shade because it was very hot. But yeah, it was really nice. It's a long weekend here in Canada. So today's Monday and I'm enjoying the day off. And what else? Oh, like I mentioned, we went to visit my mom last weekend. We went to Birch Lake and got some swimming in there too. My gosh, the water was so warm. I've never felt such warm water in a lake. It was, actually it's kind of concerning. It shouldn't be that warm. And I know my stepdad was saying that there's like a lack of fish, like they're not finding a lot of fish when they go fishing and stuff. So I don't know, because the water's too warm, I think. Anyways, not good. So what did we do? I sewed, mentioned that. And my mom asked my daughter to design a sign that she could put up in the milkweed that is off of one of the roads on the way to their camp, because the township keeps mowing down the milkweed, and she's hoping that if she puts a sign up that says that this is like monarchs' habitat, that maybe they will think twice about it. So I'll pop in a picture of the finished sign. It's pretty cute. So that got put up, and hopefully it makes a difference. For those who don't know, oh my gosh, I did a whole talk on monarchs last year. I think it was around this time, about the whole life cycle and everything like that. I'll put a link to it if you're interested. It's at the end of the episode. But basically, monarch butterflies are a species at risk, and they are migratory. So they usually, you can get them coming from different areas, but I think the ones we get here come from Mexico. So they come to Mexico, from Mexico here. They lay their eggs on milkweed. That's their host plant. It has to be milkweed because the milkweed leaves have like this toxin in them. And so when the caterpillars hatch, they eat the milkweed leaves, and that makes them poisonous, and that basically protects them from predation, so it helps them survive. So yeah, they have to be laid on milkweed. So milkweed is a very important plant. And so they eat, get really plump, and then they make the most gorgeous chrysalises, which are like a little cocoon. But these ones the monarch ones are like a gorgeous jade jade green, I'd say, with gold flecking kind of around the edging. They look like jewelry. Like, honestly, they're just stunning. They're beautiful. So they go in there, and then they, you know, they transform into the butterfly, and then their chrysalis turns clear, and they hatch out, and they fly away as these beautiful monarch butterflies to complete the life cycle. And then they fly back in the fall. So they make huge journeys. It's amazing that they can do that. Anyways, where was I going with this? I just find them fascinating, and we planted a bunch of milkweed in our garden. So I've been lucky enough, our family's been lucky enough to watch them go through the entire life cycle. But this year, my milkweed, I got 2 plants, which is, usually I'll have like 6, which is sufficient to provide, you know, food for numerous caterpillars. But this year, I only got 2, and I don't see any eggs on there whatsoever. I haven't seen any monarchs here at all. It's very sad. And I don't know if it's like the weather or what. It's been a weird growing season. It's just really strange. Yeah. Anyways, so sadly, I haven't seen any monarchs this year. I'm just looking at a little chipmunk. He's having a snack of grass. Well, that's why the other chipmunk is chirping. I don't know if you can hear that chirp. That's a chipmunk. He's upset. He or she, they are upset because either at me or because there's another chipmunk. Anyways, sometimes it's a zoo out here. Both the little critters. Okay, I think I'm trying to remember if there's anything else I wanted to mention. I know there's always things I forget to talk about, but I think that's it for today. So yeah, I'll leave it there. And I hope that you all have the most wonderful next little while whenever I return to you. And it's filled with lots of making. Happy making. Bye.